let me tell you, there's always money. People always have money. Even with that 30,000 shillings, hata ikikatwa and it gets around 25,000, there's a tool and framework that we give out in class. It's called the spending tracker and the budget and personal balance sheet. Where now you sit down and say, oh, cool, with my 30,000, how much is going here, how much is going, you'll realize how much money you lose along the way. A lot of people spend a lot of money on skiza tunes.
Really?
Yes. Yes. So people will say, I have like 10 skiza tunes. For what?
Wow, that is very unexpected,
yes.
actually.
For what? You know, you're going to work. Instead of carrying food, you're buying food. You know, so this is some of the bad habits that people have developed over a period of time, and it affects them now financially.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Millionaire Mind. My name is Turife. Joining us today we have Kathleen from Centonomy, and she'll be giving us a bit of an insight on what goes on when it comes to financial education, how it started, and how it's doing so far. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So please introduce yourself, what you do, where you're from, the whole enchilada, don't leave anything out.
All right, thank you for having me. My name is Kathleen Muriithi. I serve at Centonomy as the Programs and Content Manager, which means I'm the one in charge of training and the curriculum we use for our financial education programs. And it's a privilege to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, thank you. And Kathleen, what exactly is Centonomy? Because we have seen it on the internet, especially on social media. You have a huge presence. We have seen you work with a few celebrities or well-known personalities. But for somebody who just does not understand what exactly you're doing, how would you describe Centonomy?
That's actually a very good question. Centonomy is a leading financial education organization. It was established 14 years ago, which means we have been there for a while.
Yeah,
and
over a decade.
Yes, over a decade. And our purpose is to empower individuals with the necessary skills, the necessary knowledge, the necessary insights that they need to make informed financial decisions. So for us, every hour, every resource at Centonomy is directed towards helping people so that they can be able now to take back control of their wealth. You know, for us, we believe that it is possible for everyone to generate wealth, and we need to have honest discussions about finances. You know, it should be the norm, it should not be the exception, so that we are able to generate wealth and we are able to live a abundant life. In fact, our mission is to shift mindsets so that purposeful people are able to generate wealth and live abundantly. So that is Centonomy. We are in the financial education space.
And it sounds very, you know, very well put together when you say it like that.
Yes,
it sounds very convincing, but at the same time we know that it's the nature of human beings to just be gatekeepers of information and opportunities. So now, how are you able to convince people that, listen, I am coming from a genuine place, I genuinely want to help you achieve financial freedom, but at the same time, in the times we're in, we have seen a lot of people crop up giving financial courses, and 9 times out of 10 it's you know, a failure or a hoax or just a few points from you know, the internet. So now how do you set yourself apart from all these other people who are doing all these things and say, this is Centonomy, this is what we do, and convince people that you are genuine?
Listen, for us, we are not just, we are not a get-rich-quick company, which most organizations actually use that model. For us, we tend to shift mindsets. You know, we are not teaching you things that are not there. These are things that you have seen, you have interacted with as you grow, and we try to debunk some of the myths and the misconceptions that are there. When I tell you that it is possible for you to build wealth, you know, that's a very broad statement, but it is possible. Now we go deeper into the details that you need to know. For example, in one of our programs, we handle everything about money. When it comes to having money, when it comes to building it, when it comes to borrowing it, how do I protect my money? And most organizations don't do that. And also the approach that we use in training is very holistic, because we are not, we are not people who just come and tell you do this and do this and do that and do that. We use a holistic approach where now we combine the practical knowledge together with the behavioral financial insights. So now we'll address the practical knowledge that you'll get, and also address the psychological and emotional factors that affect decision making when it comes to finances. And also we use something called the participatory approach. So for us, it's not a trainer-learner sort of engagement where we're just coming to give you facts, but it's very interactive because we always appreciate a symbiotic kind of relationship. We are also there to learn. We are also there to research and to incorporate relevant information that we can use for future sessions. So it's very participatory and it's very interactive because we create an environment that is conducive for learning and change, you know. So now in the end, we get a lot of engagement and also build a community that we can always learn from. That is why now you see even celebrities want to be part of these communities. We have a lot of insights on social media. We leverage some of these resources and frameworks that are readily available for us so that we can disseminate this information and set ourselves apart from any other organization that is in the financial education space. That to us is a unique value proposition, and you can be able to see it for yourself because so many people want to be associated with us. They want to gain knowledge from us because for us it is beyond imparting knowledge. Let me put it that way. We are beyond imparting knowledge. So for us is developing and generating positive impact in the in the communities that we work with, in the organizations that we work for, in the organizations that we partner with. So we go just beyond imparting knowledge, and that is what sets us apart from other organizations.
Awesome. And what would you say are the specific educational tools that you give? You said it's a very interactive process, but you've also mentioned that you have topics or other majors like money and other sections. So what specific educational courses now do you provide to somebody who comes to you?
Okay, so currently we have two programs that we offer. One of them is the Centonomy 101, which is the personal financial management program. So this is where what I was telling you, you get to learn everything and anything to do with money. And it's extremely practical because we use real life scenarios, we use case studies, and we put you in a position where you're able now to walk through practical examples that relate to your personal circumstances when it comes to personal finance. And that way now you're able to build a whole financial plan and address some of the aspects or concerns that you have when it comes to personal finance and learn around investment strategies that you can use so that all these things are geared towards your goals or your objectives when it comes to personal finance. So we'll have classes on the principles of financial management because you need to understand what are some of these principles that I need to incorporate myself with so that I can be able to learn about money. We look at time value of money, and that's something that we really need to discuss because when you start having an income, most people don't think about investment. Most people don't think about the time that they have. So now that's the whole aspect of monetary policies. How do you understand the whole aspect of compounded returns? So you're making your 30,000 shillings as a 20-year-old and you think you have all the time, So this is something that we learn. It's a whole module where we get to understand the time value of money. The other thing is debt, because we can't let's agree, most people are in debt, especially with this presiding economic situation. So we have a whole module on debt management. Do people understand debt? Do they understand
Probably
what
not.
debt is? So we talk about this. You get to understand what debt is. What is good debt? What is bad debt? If there's something like good debt, then how can I use good debt to generate wealth? If I'm in debt, then how do I pay down debt quickly? So that's the whole aspect of debt repayment plan. Which are some of the tools that we give. So every module has a tool that is presented, and that's one thing again about Centonomy. So we not only give you theoretical examples, but we give you tools and frameworks that you can use later on. For example, when it comes to, let me ask, do you understand how loans are calculated?
I do know there's an interest that is charged, but beyond that,
you don't know.
It goes above me.
Yes. So now this is another tool that we give. It's called the loan amortization schedule. So you take out up a loan of 5 million. You want to pay it in 5 years. So how is it calculated? If the bank tells you should pay around 20,000 shillings every month, how did it arrive to 20,000 shillings? So once you understand some of these concepts, then now you'll be able to make them work in your favor. If you're in debt, there's the whole debt repayment plan. How do I pay my debt quickly? So at least it leaves me and I'm able now to even use that debt to generate wealth. Some people at work will get lump sums. We are in the season where organizations get bonuses. So somebody will receive a huge amount of money. So then how do I use this money? You know, do I use this money to pay down debt? Do I use this money to invest?
To treat yourself.
To treat yourself. You know, there's a whole conversation that needs to be done around this. And these are some of the modules that we do. There's also the bit of protecting your money. You have your money. So then how do I protect it? You know, you're probably going to be retiring the next 40, 30 years. How do I ensure that I'm building a legacy? You know, how do I rob the grave?
Exactly.
You get? How do I ensure that when I retire, I am still able to maintain my desired lifestyle? So now there we bring in an expert, a lawyer, who will take us through the whole aspect of estate planning. You know, so you're able to know, okay, so this is how I protect my money. You know, what structures do I need to build? Okay, so these are some of the tools and the frameworks that we give to people in class, so that they're able to use them to incorporate in their learnings further. And that's the thing about Centonomy, we handhold you, so that we're not giving you the tips and the tricks and then we just leave you there.
Let you go.
No. We support you, because that's also part of our impact tracking. We try to ensure that whatever we do, we are able to guide you along the way, so that we can see the behavioral change. Remember, our mission is to do what? To shift mindsets. And the only way we can be able to achieve that is to ensure that in as much as we are giving you the blueprint or the world's navigator, then now we can be able to support you to ensure that you're using it in your personal life.
Awesome.
Yes. And that's just one program.
Yeah.
That's
so
one.
many.
There's so many. That's just one.
Yeah.
We have the Centonomy Entrepreneur Program. So now this is for entrepreneurs and businesses. Yeah. And the thing about Centonomy is we are able to identify the unique needs and the knowledge gaps that are presented from the different demographics that we deal with. So now our programs are customized accordingly. So the Centonomy Entrepreneur Program is, like I said, now for entrepreneurs and for businesses. So here now we get now to delve into the different parameters when it comes to running a business, not just in Kenya, but even beyond. Yeah. For us, we believe, you see, like now in the society, when you're told to describe a business, you'll talk about the size of it, the popularity it has, you'll talk about the impact it has. So for us, we also look at the impact, number one, when we gauge a business. What we want to see after the end of the program is the impact that your business is able to generate at the end, the culture that you're able to build. So at least the human capital that you have, you're working with people who want to work there and not people who have to work there.
Yeah.
You get the structures, you know, can your business work without you? Yeah. Also look at the products and the services. You're saying you're an entrepreneur, but is the market ready for your product or service? You know, what is the business landscape saying about your product or service? So that's a whole class on human-centered design, where now you get to test your product. Yeah, you empathize, you look at your business from the customer's point of view. You ideate, you come up with ideas to improve your business, your products and the services that you offer. You prototype and you create a whole implementation plan that supports that, because for businesses you have to break even. You get, so we help you with that. We also look at the regulatory and the institutional framework. So these are the legal structures, things like IP, things like contracts. You know, how do I understand some of the regulations that are affecting my business, especially with the finance bill now. So now as a business, how does that affect me? You get, there's the money bit, accounting, working capital. What are some of the operation costs for your business? How do you handle that? Raising capital, so now that's a whole investing thing. You know, is your business investor ready? How do I get my business to be investor ready? What kind of investors are good for my business? So that's a whole that's a whole program that now helps entrepreneurs and businesses now. So now these are the two programs that we offer, and you see they're very customized to suit the specific needs and demands that we get.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have talked about operational costs, and given the vast knowledge that you're putting out there and you're impacting people with, how does that now make sense for you financially, for Centonomy financially? So now, do you charge a specific amount for these courses, or is it, you know, I will bless you with this knowledge, go forth and do great things? How exactly does that, you know, make sense for you financially? And also, you've talked about classes and courses. Do people graduate at the end of these courses? And if they fail, do they have to repeat at an added cost?
Cool. That's a very good question. So we do something called evaluations. Before, and this is specifically for the corporate offerings that we have. Remember, different demographics have unique needs and challenges. So before I come and tell you, you need a class on debts, you know, I have to do something called a needs assessment, where now I come and assess what is the knowledge gap for this kind of, because now most HRs will come and say, oh, my people are borrowing loans. You know, people are getting salary advances. I want a class on this. But is that really the case? So we do now something called a needs assessment. So we get to, there's some metrics that we use to evaluate, and we'll tell you, okay, you need a class on debt, yeah, but you also need a class on investment, because they're going into debt because they're trying to invest.
True.
You see, so now that's a whole new dynamic. During session, we also do evaluations. So now, and that's a whole spectrum, because you have to customize content. There's no given content where I'll tell you, okay, so this is the content, use that. So we have to customize content to suit to the specific demands and the knowledge gaps that we have identified during needs assessment. Yeah. So now that one informs how much money we charge. There's also the bit of the size of the group. And there's also the budget, you know, because organizations work with budgets, you know. But one thing that we strive to achieve as an organization is we try as much as possible to deliver high quality programs without compromising our resources and capacity as an organization. So we work on a partnership style approach, because in the end what we want to achieve is a win-win paradigm. Both parties have to win in the end. And once that is established from onset, then we're good to go.
That was a very HR question, you know, your response. You didn't really, you gave us a lot without giving us enough.
Yes,
but you know what, we will take what we can right now. Would you say you have a specific target demographic? Because you have mentioned investment in your 20s, you have mentioned retirement plans. So what is the ideal demographic that is targeted by Centonomy?
So currently we are targeting young adults who have started getting income, because now with the personal financial management program, it is good for you to start early. We even have professionals. Most of them will either do Centonomy Entrepreneur, will also either do Centonomy 101, and then the entrepreneurs. Initially, pre-COVID, we had other programs. We had Campus Edition, where we're targeting campus students, and we had a whole tailor-made program for them. We had a Teens Bootcamp. These are for the teens, because it's good to start talking about money as early as possible. And then now we had the Career Hub for people who are looking to advance in their career trajectory. I'm not saying this has completely stopped. We are just trying to restructure so that when we bring it, we are able now to address the traction that we have been able to garner over the period of time, and we are also able to build a sustainable program in the end. So that is what we are working on. But currently we have the Centonomy 101 program and also the Centonomy Entrepreneur program.
Given how impressive, you know, you have presented Centonomy as, do you have proof of concept, or what do you tell your clients? Listen, these are our success stories. This is proof of what we are actually teaching you, and what we're actually telling you is actually doing great for other people. So would you mind giving us a few success stories, maybe that we know of or that we do not know of?
We have many. We have many of them, and you can find them in our social media platforms, especially in YouTube, because our participants graduate, our learners graduate. The Centonomy 101 program is a 12-week course. After 12 weeks, they do graduate, and we have a whole beautiful event that we put for them. And we get a lot of testimonials from them. The Centonomy Entrepreneur is 14 weeks, and they also graduate. So we have a lot of people who have been impacted by our programs, and you can get this from all our social media platforms. So feel free to just go in there. There are also tips and resources that we share there, and you can get that from our social media platform.
And you had mentioned about the myths and misconceptions around finances and financial literacy. What would you say has been the impact of Centonomy in pretty much debunking some of the things we actually think are gospel truth, when in reality it's actually hurting us in our pockets?
Listen, this is a personal question, because we have been ascribed some molds by the society that we need to conform to. You get, even me personally, before I joined Centonomy, there's some things that I knew as the gospel truth. Until now I got into class and I realized, hey, I need to learn a lot about this. And I'll give you two. One of them is, you've heard a lot of people saying investment is for the wealthy. You know, so you'll start earning money, and then now you look down on your 30,000 shillings or your 50,000 shillings instead of investing it, and that's something that we really need to talk about, because like I said, there's the monetary policies, concept of compounded returns. The earlier you start investing, the better it will be. Your value, the 5,000 shillings you have now, the value it has right now will not be the same 30, 40 years from now. So then these are some of the things that people talk about. I'll start investing when I earn 6 figures. I mean, it doesn't really make sense, you know, and as Centonomy, we recognize that this is something that really needs to address. And we challenge this myth now with practical insights and strategies in class so that you are able now to look at it from a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
The other thing is about debt. When we were growing up, we were being told that debt is always bad. You know, don't take out loans, debt is always bad. But can you,
good debt.
yeah, but there's good debt, you know. Can you generate wealth with just an income? No, you really have to take risks. And that's one thing we talk about in class, goal-based investments. And one of the things is you need to incorporate the use of good debt. So then how does debt work? Once you understand that, then now you know there's good debt. So then how do I use good debt to generate wealth? So these are some of the myths and misconceptions that we debunk in class so that you're able now to see things from a whole different perspective and incorporate the learnings into your personal life or into your business.
And you have given the model of, for example, a person in their 20s earning all of 30,000. And this is before tax, before all those deductions. So maybe at the end of the day, they're going home with all of 25,000. And you're telling this person, you need to start investing. But once they, you know, pay rent, utilities, and all of these other things, they are left with all of nothing. So now how do you convince such a person that it is possible for you and your small income to actually be able to make investments?
Let me tell you, there's always money. People always have money. Even with that 30,000 shillings, ata ikikatwa and it gets around 25,000, there's a tool and framework that we give out in class. It's called the spending tracker and the budget and personal balance sheet. Where now you sit down and say, oh, cool, with my 30,000, how much is going here, how much is going, you'll realize how much money you lose along the way. I'll give you an example. We were doing some training somewhere and realized a lot of people spend a lot of money on skiza tunes.
Really?
Yes. Yes. So people will say, I have like 10 skiza tunes. For what?
Wow, that is very unexpected, actually.
For what? You know, you're going to work. Instead of carrying food, you're buying food. You know, so these are some of the habits, bad habits that people have developed over a period of time, and it affects them now financially. So now with these tools, you're able to know, cool. So out of the 25,000, once I remove all my expenses, and that's the other thing about expenses, there's the fixed expense and there's the variable, you know. Once you're able now to categorize and know, I can't do without this, so I have to take care of this quickly. You'll realize that you have some bit of money left. And the thing is, don't look down on that 1,000 shilling that is left, or that 500 shilling.
And say it's too little.
Yes, don't say that is too little. That is a conduit that you can use to start in your investment journey, and you'll be surprised how much money that the 500 shilling will accumulate over a period of time. So invest. Start building your investments. Start saving, actually. Start balancing your investment, and just develop a very healthy money habit as early as possible, because now it will carry you over a long period of time.
Awesome. And Centonomy has been in the business for all of 14 years. That is obviously over a decade. And over time, things change, systems change, the money market changes. So now how are you able to stay relevant over time? Because the same principles you were using when you started in year 1 cannot be the same principles and teachings that you're using at year 14. So now how do you stay relevant?
You know, we are also a learning organization. In as much as we dispense knowledge, we're also learning ourselves. So there's always a lot of ongoing research that we do to ensure that whatever information we give out in class is relevant, up to date, and accurate. So we do this through research. We also do this through a lot of collaboration with industry experts. Our facilitators are actually experts. So it is a mandate for them to continuously improve on their craft, so that when they come to class and dispense their knowledge, they're giving out knowledge that is relevant and up to date. And this is how we are able to remain afloat. Another thing that we do is we continuously monitor the financial landscape. Because like you said, things are always changing. So if we're able now to master these financial trends from the onset, then now we can be able now to incorporate that in the class. And we do that from the community that we have been able to build. So we have feedback mechanisms that we use to get feedback and incorporate that in our learning. So that way now we are able to stay up to date.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have talked about, you know, success stories and the proof of concept and how you actually grade and assess, you know, your students as they are going through the process. But now how do you gauge the effectiveness of all these teachings and all this learning that you've impacted on this person? How do you gauge how effective they have been after they have left Centonomy?
So we do have an evaluation metric that we use. So apart from the effectiveness, there are 4 things that we actually monitor. So the first one is the relevance. I talked about the relevance of the content. So we always try as much as possible to ensure that the content presented is up to date and the participants or the learners are able to relate with it as much as possible. So now that's where the whole aspect of customization comes in, and the needs assessment that I had talked about. So that whatever we are presenting on the table is something that you can relate with, and there's some take-home tools and frameworks that you can use afterwards. The other thing that we use now is coherence. Were you able to understand this? Yeah, so we talked about investment opportunities. So we talked about investing in cash or fixed income. So that's where now we go into shares, we go into stocks, we go into treasury bills and all these things. But have you understood that? So what we try to do in class is we live and buy a bond in class. So we do the practical bits. I mentioned earlier that the Centonomy 101 program is extremely practical. So we try as much as possible to not give you the theory bit of it, but also give you an opportunity where now you can incorporate the practical bits of it. The other thing now is efficiency. We do have capacity as an organization. We do have resources to take you through the training. But our main concern is to deliver high quality training. So we try as much as possible to ensure that the trainers that we bring are people who are experts and
their
are
field.
Yes, nearly perfect. People who are able now to deliver training in the most efficient way possible. And then the other bit is the effectiveness. So now this is where the delivery comes in. I talked about the participatory approach. So the delivery aspect that you incorporate in class has to be very extremely participatory. Engage with the learners, let them ask questions, you know, let them engage, let them brainstorm, because that way they're also able to learn from each other. So these are some of the things that we use. There's also the bit of impact tracking, where we track our impact in short term and also in long term. So in short term, that's where we talk about the knowledge retention, overall satisfaction, but impact tracking is over a period of time. If you've done the program today, in the next 6 months, we would like to know, has there been a shift in your mindset? Has there been a change in the money habits that you had? So we do all of this to ensure that the impact stays positive and that we are also able to learn and incorporate the feedback into our future programs.
Awesome. And now coming back in-house, coming back to you as a business and as an organization, we have talked about how earlier on how you want employees who actually want to be there, not that they have to be there to earn a living. So now how do you maintain and ensure that the people at Centonomy actually, you know, care about what they're doing, you know, they actually want to be there, they're not just there for a paycheck?
I'll tell you that from a personal perspective. Centonomy is an organization that is not very technical. It's a family goal-based organization. When you
That's a red flag.
No, that's not.
We did talk about how once businesses start, you know, saying their family, how it becomes a bit.
They don't say that. They don't tell you. You get to experience that. You feel so much at home. When you don't understand anything, you can easily ask. And we're constantly learning. So there's so many internal training programs that we do have. Recently, we had a training on the NSSF Act. So now you see, for us, we can't be training people and we also don't know. You get? So we try as much as possible to ensure that even as we are learning, even as we are incorporating some of these trainings, because now for us, there's something called the tag teaming team. When a trainer is in class, there's always a member of Centonomy in class, so that we can provide backstopping support. I cannot provide backstopping support if I don't know whatever is being trained. So we constantly have to learn. We constantly have to remain afloat with the knowledge that we dispense in class. So that's a beautiful thing about Centonomy. You feel like you're part of a family that takes care of you, part of a family that provokes you to grow. You are put in an environment where you really have to grow and thrive. Yes.
And what would you say have been the challenges you have faced thus far? Because being in this, you know, I'd say game for 14 years, impacting financial literacy to people and giving people models on how to succeed, what would you say have been the challenges you've experienced?
One of the challenges are not many, thank God.
Yeah.
But one of the challenges that we have experienced is because we are in the business of shifting mindsets. If somebody does not want to change, you can't force them.
True.
I'll give you all the information that I have, but if you cannot shift that mindset, then now you'll still remain where you are. And we have seen a lot of people coming back for refresher courses because they'll go through a program, and then later on they'll say, I still don't understand how this works, you know. And as an organization, how we ensure that we provide a solution to this challenge is we still handhold you. So you'll come back to class, or we might send you a recording of a class, so at least you're able now to refresh your mind about this particular topic or this particular element that you have a concern with. We have one-on-one sessions. So like now we were training one of the financial institutions about so many of them, and most of them said, I need one-on-one session. So now we are able to organize that, where if one of your concerns is estate planning, then we give you a session with a lawyer. How do I go about building this legacy or putting my money or protecting my money? If one of them is on investing, how do I go about this? So we put you in a room with a financial coach who is able now to work with you so that you're able now to continuously effect these learnings into your life.
I actually got to know about Centonomy through Nancy Mwai, and she took us through the whole journey the whole time. What would you say as an organization, apart from proof of concept and referrals, is the most effective way to market your business? Do you believe in influencer marketing?
We don't believe. Let me tell you, one of our biggest sales strategy is customer satisfaction. Customers are different. We have different segmentations in the market. Nancy Mwai fits one particular segmentation. We have so many of them. So for us is we strive as much as possible to satisfy all these customer segmentations. And this for us has really worked for us because in the end we are able to build a community of people who believe, who have seen the effectiveness of our program and who believe in the future of our dreams. That way together we are able to sight the distant horizon and say, okay, so now this is the financial bill, so what do we do now? And they believe that we are able to give them practical tools and frameworks that they can use to effect this into their personal lives. So this has been our biggest effective spectrum that we incorporate now. So we treat every segmentation with as much respect as possible and as much importance as possible, and then now we customize our training to fit these different segmentations.
You, Kathleen, are a powerhouse. You know, you do know your stuff, and thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. But as we are winding up, what would you say are a few tips or tools that somebody can stay relevant, especially financially relevant in this day and age?
Okay, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. So I'll give you 3 tools, 3 of the many tools that I use, 3 of the many tips that I use. One of them is, as early as you can, please track your expenses and create a budget. Because this will
stick to it.
And stick to it. Because this will give you the visibility of where your money is going. And once you know where your money is going, then you'll be able to know, if I'm losing 10,000 shillings every month, if I can identify this is where it's going and block that, then what will this 10,000 be in the next 20 years? You get. This will help you and it will save you a lot of money. Just track your expenses, even the ones that you go to Sherehe with. Just have a budget for that. Say my budget for Sherehe in a month is this X amount of money. If I go beyond that, then I know I am affecting the next month. You get. The other tip that I will give is start saving and investing early. And learn as much as possible about investment. And in Centonomy, we call them goal-based investment because a good investment is the one that is relating to a goal. I can't start buying shares if I do not have a financial goal. I need to know why am I investing in property and not in paperless investments. So I need to have a financial goal. If I have that, then I'll be able now to identify what are some of these investment opportunities that are there in the marketplace that I can take advantage of. And then I'll balance that. Once you balance saving and investment as early as you can, you're good to go. The third one is, please, because of how the economy is, please set up an emergency fund. An emergency fund will help you a lot when it comes to those unexpected expenses. don't just say, okay, so me, I'm living, I'm earning 200,000 shillings, so if I'm good, yeah. If I spend 100,000 a month, then I'm good. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. Create an emergency fund so that you are able to protect yourself for those tough economic times, and they will come, and they're there. So if you're able to build a shield as early as possible, then you'll be good to go. So these are some of the tips that I can share. But there are so many, and I encourage people to come to class because you learn so much. I've learned so much, and I want people to learn as much as they can.
Okay, so where can people find you on socials?
We are across all social media platforms. On YouTube, just search Syntonomy. You'll be able to find us across all social media avenues.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for imparting all that knowledge. And we hope somebody over there has actually, you know, been pressured to actually join a class with you. My name is Turife, and until next week, goodbye.